YouTube, what is going on, my future certified public accountants? Sorry, I had to say that. If you're studying for the exam, chances are you probably know what I was just referencing there. Peter Sugar Bear Olinto, the GOAT, the greatest, the best. Thank you, Peter, for all you did for me when I was studying for the exam. Still waiting on that free cup of coffee. If you are waiting for your free cup of coffee out there as well, go ahead and comment down in the comments below. That's where you would comment in the comments typically. But yeah, let's go ahead and get right into it. Welcome to the second video of my CPA slash public accounting slash Big Four series that really does not have a title. But today I want to go ahead and talk about my experience during my first year as an associate at a Big Four firm. As I have completed my first year, I have officially been quote unquote promoted, although I'm not a senior. I'm just in between being basically a fresh new hire and being a senior associate, which more or less means I know what I'm doing now. You know, I have a busy season under my belt. I have some planning under my belt. I pretty much have seen most of what I'm going to see. And I feel like there may be a lot of you out there who are getting ready to start full time in the fall. I guess I should preference with the fact that I work in audit. I do not work in tax. So some of this may be more geared towards tax. More towards audit as opposed to tax, although I think I'm going to speak more in terms of generalities and basic principles that I think probably can apply to both lines of service. But getting back to what I was saying, so a lot of you may be getting ready to start in the fall. Some of you may be interning right now and wondering what your life's going to look like as a full-time associate. And so I just wanted to kind of pull the curtain back a little bit and share with you my experience and how I feel going into my second year as an associate with my firm. So first and foremost, the biggest thing I have to say is I learned a ton. And I know that sounds like a cliche, and I know a lot of people say, but man, it is true. And the one thing that sticks out to me is something my senior has said to me over and over again is, you're gonna be surprised at how much you know. Because I remember my first few days on the job, I started in January, a busy season start, so thrown right into the fire. And I remember doing things and listening to my senior coach me and have him discuss the topics that we were looking over and just being like, wow, like this guy is so smart. There's no way I'm ever going to know this, and like all the details and like how this actually works, like to be able to explain it as well as he is right now. And I remember saying that to him, and my senior just being like, Sean, like, trust me, you're gonna get there. You're gonna be surprised at how much you know, and you probably are gonna not even realize that you are learning and know what you know at a certain point, if that makes sense. And I can tell you that 1000% is true, because now we have interns here. We have had other associates roll onto my job that maybe are a year ahead of me, a year below me, wherever it is, and I have found myself in that spot already, still pretty brand new, being like, holy crap, I know a lot, as I'm sitting there explaining concepts, explaining different things we're doing to people, and realizing like, wow, like where did this come from? And it's kind of just the nature of the job, right? Because it's very deadline driven, so there's a lot to do in a short amount of time. And you're gonna retain more than you realize, and it might be a little bit overwhelming at first. Just know that you're gonna get there. If you feel like you don't know what you're doing, that just means you're learning. You're gonna get to where you need to be. But I got news for you, even where you need to be, you're not really there yet. You're still gonna do plenty of things where you have no idea what you're doing. So, and again, it's a cliche. People say this over and over again in this business and this industry and this world is, it's okay if you have no idea what you're doing. No one has any idea what they're doing, and you're always learning. There's always a challenge. There's always a way to get better. And I can 100% say that is definitely has been the case so far throughout my first year, and I do not expect that to change moving forward over these next several years as well. Okay, so another thing that really stood out to me and something I've learned is the importance of time management. And I think this is a little bit different for me because I had worked before I went into public accounting. So long story short, I had a career change. I worked in sales and other fields before I actually went back to school to go into public accounting, and I'll actually get into that in another video down the road. But more or less, I had experience in a work environment. I had experience in deadlines, working with deadlines as well. So time management wasn't necessarily a new concept to me, and I already felt pretty good on this in this area as I started. With that being said, there's always room for improvement. You know, it's really important. I come in every single day. I look at what's on my plate. I schedule it out like, okay, this needs to be done by this time. I'm going to allocate this to that. I'm going to set up these meetings for then. Because the thing is, and the reason why I'm talking about this is, as I've said before, and you're going to notice the constant theme, there's a lot, you learn a lot, you do a lot, there's a lot of stuff that gets done, and if you don't manage your time well and stay organized and write out what you have to do, things are going to fall through the cracks. I can guarantee it. It's happened to me, it's happened to everyone, and that's ultimately how you end up with reviews maybe that you don't necessarily think align with your true performance, right? Because if things are falling through the cracks, not only are you not getting it done, but everything that you do as an associate has multiple levels upstream of where it needs to go before it's actually legitimately done for the audit or for planning, or if you're in tax for tax, right? Because as an associate, you're more or less just an assistant, you're staff. You're preparing the work for the partner and the seniors and the managers to actually clean up and be presented and be finished, a complete product, right? So when things are slipping through the cracks, you're ultimately affecting the entire team, if that makes sense. So time management is key. Being organized is key. If you can get those two things down, your life will be leagues better. And it's going to be a learning process. You're going to make mistakes. That's something else. You're going to make mistakes. Make them. Just don't make the same mistake twice. Another cliche, but it's true. Make mistakes. Learn from them. Do not make the same mistake twice. Okay? All right. So, and I guess another area that I want to talk about as well is the importance of confidence, right? So if you ended up at a Big Four, or honestly at any public accounting firm in general, you ended up there for a reason. It's because the recruiters, their partners, whoever you networked with, they saw you as a competent individual who was going to add value to their team. And I know it can be intimidating because I'm there, I've been there, I will always be there. We will all be there together in this boat. When you're looking at something, it seems very complex and you're like, how am I ever going to do this? There's no way. Take a deep breath, step back, and have confidence. Remember that they brought you here for a reason, and also remember that most of the time, if you're on a good team, there are always individuals there who are willing to help you out. You can ask questions, you can do research. It's not necessarily advisable, but you can always look back on prior year work papers. You can look in different projects' work papers and see of how they may have tackled a certain task. But more or less what I'm trying to say is there are a lot of different things at your disposal, a lot of different resources that you can use to tackle tasks and get it to a place where you never even thought would be immediately feasible when it was first set on your plate, and you're just like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Have confidence, use the resources at your disposal, because at the end of the day, you can ask questions, you can get help, you can use the resources, but sometimes those resources and those people aren't gonna be available. And then if you are confident and you do put your best foot forward, I honestly, I feel very strongly about this. I think if you put the effort in and you respect it and you do what can be expected of you as a first year associate, even if you don't necessarily do it completely right, if you do it and you go to your senior and say, hey, like, you gave me this task to do last week, it was tough, but I went ahead, I did it, here's why I did it, here was my line of thought about what I did. I guarantee you, if you bring something like that to someone and you show them that you put the effort and you put a good faith effort into it, it's gonna look pretty good on you, and not only are you going to learn along the way, but it's ultimately going to play well in your favor when it comes to your reviews at the end of the year. Okay. Last but not least, I think another thing that I learned was the importance of navigating relationships, right? So there's going to be a lot of different personalities you're going to work with. You're going to have times where you're going to feel pulled in different directions in terms of what the client wants when you're meeting with the client, and then what your manager wants, and different deadlines, and there's just a whole lot of stuff there, and you're going to have to learn how to navigate it. It's going to happen. Again, it's another thing that kind of goes by trial and error. You're going to get good at reading people, their personalities, how they work, how they don't work, and yeah, so that's it. I guess that's my thoughts on my first year. It was stressful. I learned a lot. Honestly, I'm very happy though. I'm very happy with my current situation. I have a great team. I have great seniors on multiple engagements. I'm excited about where I'm going, and I look forward to different things down the road and being able to take on more complex and quote-unquote fun tasks. So yeah, that's my first year at the Big Four. I feel like it was a lot of cliche, but I'm a real person, and I think that if this can help anyone out there, I think this video did its job. So until next time.